Hi, friends. Today's social studies target is I can use geographic tools to develop spatial thinking, standard 2. So, the first thing you're going to do is watch this lesson, which you should be watching right now. And then the second thing you're going to do is you're going to do a seesaw activity to show your understanding of your learning today. So, let's go ahead and get started. Let's look at what we did yesterday. So, yesterday we looked at the entire world and we learned about the different oceans and we learned about the different continents. Well, today we're going to zoom in a little bit more. So, I want you to focus right over here at North America. And today we're going to look at the 50 states, the United States of America. All right. And the United States is this section here. Okay. So this is the United States, but it also includes Hawaii, which is way over here in the Pacific Ocean. And then it also includes Alaska, which is super north by Canada. Canada is not one of the 50 states, it's its own country. And then you have the United States and Mexico, okay, touching the United States. So we are going to be looking at the 50 states today, and then we're going to zoom in to our own state. Let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go ahead and present this amazing map. This is a map of the United States and the United States only. What's interesting about the maps for the United States is Hawaii and Alaska are usually just floating randomly. And the reason they're floating randomly, you could see in the world map, is that Hawaii is like way over here in the Pacific Ocean. And then Alaska is super duper north. And so it doesn't really fit on to the rest of the 50 states. And so they usually just place them randomly. But I don't know how many students I've had in the past and when I taught high school that they truly had no idea where Alaska and Hawaii were because they were always floating at different places on the United States map. And so now you know that Hawaii is south and it's really in that Pacific Ocean floating by itself because it's an island. It has many islands. And then Alaska is super north next to Canada. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So, like I said, we're going to zoom in to Colorado. But before we zoom into Colorado, I'm going to tell you something super cool. These are the 50 states, and the 50 states all have their own star on our flag. The US flag has 50 stars to represent every single state. And they weren't always states. At one point, they were territories and they were colonies. And so we also have 13 lines or stripes that represent the 13 original colonies. And so it took a while to get from colonies to the different territories into states. And what's super fun, and you can do this too, is I love to look at my quarters, and there are state quarters that tell you what different states became states when, and they have little pictures and stuff to represent things for the state. So fun. And of course, I always get super excited when I find Colorado. So let's go ahead and look at Colorado. So Colorado is the rectangular state. It's kind of boring, believe it or not, when it comes to a shape, just a regular rectangle, when we have all of these other places that look so cool. But what's really cool about Colorado is it has so many neighbor states, so many states that touch it. And it's part of something called the Four Corners that we're going to look at. So I'm super excited to teach you about that today. So let's go ahead and look at some of the neighboring states that touch Colorado. So let's first start north. We have Wyoming, then we have Utah, we have Arizona, we have New Mexico, we have Oklahoma just barely, just a tip. Then we have Kansas, and we have Nebraska. And so Colorado has so many neighboring states all around us. It's super cool. And for this unit, we're actually going to be focusing on this area or this region. And we're going to be talking about the geography. And we're going to be talking about the people who shaped Colorado. And we even get to learn that Colorado used to be a part of Mexico. It's going to be super fun. All right, my friends. I told you I was going to tell you about the Four Corners. So what is the Four Corners? The Four Corners is right here. And as you can see, everything lines up perfectly right here. All right. Now, let's think about this. I can be standing right here and be in four places at the exact same time. How many people can say they've done that? Not many. I have to tell you a really fun story. When I was a baby, my mom stood here. I was still not even a baby, I was still, she was still pregnant with me. And so I get to say, I was in four places at the same time, and I was like hovering over the land. I didn't actually get to touch the land because I was in my mom's belly. But it's so cool. So, one of the very few places in the entire world where you can be in four places at the exact same time. You get to be in Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona if you stand right here in the four corners. So, I told you, even though Colorado is just a rectangle and it looks like a boring state, it's actually super cool. We're part of the four corners. We have a lot of neighboring states that are super cool. And to top that off, we have mountains, plains, and plateaus all in Colorado, which we'll learn more about later. So let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit more. So I'm going to take you out of this and we're going to look at, if this is Colorado, where would Denver, our capital, be? And Arvada, our city that we live in or at least go to school in, be? Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look. All right. So, and I'm going to try to make it as easy as possible. So, Denver is really kind of north of Colorado, and it's a little bit east. Okay, it's not all the way northeast. So Denver is right here, and Denver, our capital. So what that means is our capital building is in Denver. What's also cool is not many places, but we have the Denver Mint in Colorado, which doesn't mean they make candy or mint, because I used to think that. But truly, they make coins. And so the Denver Mint is called the Denver Mint, but it really means our currency, and they make coins there. Okay. And so I thought that was super cool when I found that out, I think in third grade as well. And so there's a lot of fun things in Denver. And Denver, believe it or not, is considered a urban community because it has large buildings and a lot of people live there or work there. And there's a lot of public transportation. And there are just so many people in tall buildings. Where we learned the other day that Arvada is not an urban community. Arvada is more of a suburban community, which means usually that it is like an urban community, but smaller. It's a suburban community, right? And so that means that you're going to see a little bit less people, a little bit more homes, and a little bit more of those parks and land for, of course, the people to run around in. All right. And so Arvada then is so close to Denver. Oops, we got to go up. It is, if we looked at the map, it almost looks like it overlaps, but it doesn't. Arvada is a little bit northwest, just barely northwest of Denver. And so if I were to drive into Denver from Arvada, even though we know there's a lot of traffic now, it should only take about 15 to 20 minutes. Now we have a lot of traffic and that could cause for a long commute, but it is that close. And so Denver is the urban, and then Arvada is the suburban community. Okay, it breaks off from the urban community. And then, believe it or not, where I live is a little bit more northwest from Arvada. So remember, I said like the Longmont, not far from Lyons, not far from Boulder. And so I live just a little bit northwest again from there. And so they almost overlap. But since I live another 15 to 20 minutes from Arvada, It takes about at least about 40 minutes, 30 minutes to 40 minutes if there was no traffic to get then to Denver. So as you can see, and that looks way up there. So Denver is right here, and then Arvada is just a little smidgen above it, northwest, and then above that, where I live, is a little bit northwest from that. So that is Colorado, and we're going to go a little bit more into the regions of Colorado and where we live tomorrow. We'll zoom in a little bit more in the map so you can see it better. All right, now we want to look at the neighboring states and really where they end up. So we got to finish this beautiful compass. So these are the cardinal directions. Never eat soggy watermelon, or never eat sour worms, or north, south, east, west. Okay. And so we're going to go ahead and put these intermediate directions, one in between, onto our compass. And then we're going to kind of talk about where these are in location to Colorado. Okay. Which I was just using when I was saying northeast, and then you have, southeast, and then you have northwest. Okay. Okay. So this is north and this is east. So in between northeast, north and east would be northeast. I'm going to put that there to help me when I talk about the places. And then over here, I have northwest. So which one's northwest? Oh, there we go. And then between here, I have, we're always going to start with north or south. So we don't say east, south. You're always going to start with north or south. Okay. So the next one is between south and east. Oh, I have southwest twice. Huh. Well, that doesn't work. Let's change that right now. Southeast and then southwest. Beautiful. So let's go ahead and move that over here. Oh, sorry, friends. Here we go. All right. Now, this is going to help me describe where my neighboring states are. So here is Colorado. Wyoming is north of Colorado. You just go straight up to Wyoming. Utah is just west of Colorado. But look at here. Arizona's kind of at a diagonal. So here is Colorado. It's at a diagonal. Goes this direction. So it must be Arizona's southwest of Colorado. Then we look here. New Mexico goes straight down. So straight down is New Mexico is south. Ooh, this one's kind of at an angle again. So look at Oklahoma, okay? If Colorado was here and I went this direction, Oklahoma must be southeast of Colorado, okay? And then Kansas, I go straight over. So if I go straight over, Kansas is east of Colorado. And then finally, Nebraska, I go kind of at an angle again. So if this is Colorado, I'm going at an angle this direction. So Nebraska must be northeast of Colorado. So I just use the intermediate directions and the cardinal directions to help locate the neighboring states. Let's go in reverse though. So let's go ahead and find out where Colorado is in relationship to the neighboring states. So let's start with Wyoming. Where is Colorado based on where Wyoming is? Here we go. So Wyoming's here. Where's Colorado to Wyoming? Okay, it went down. So here's Wyoming and it went down. Colorado's south of Wyoming. All right, let's go over here. So Utah's here. And to get to Colorado, I now have to go this direction. So Colorado is east of Utah. And then I'm at Arizona and I'm moving in a horizontal? No, sorry, a vertical direction. Horizontal, vertical. Look at all those big words. All right, so I'm moving this direction. Northeast. Colorado's northeast of Arizona. Okay, and then here's New Mexico, and I'm just going straight up. So New Mexico, straight up. Colorado's north of New Mexico. And then I have Oklahoma, and I'm going this direction. So Oklahoma, Colorado is northwest of Oklahoma. And here's Kansas. I'm going to go over this direction now. And so Colorado is west of Kansas. And then here is Nebraska. And I'm going to go, oh, look there, diagonal. That's the actual word I was looking for before. Diagonal. All right, Nebraska. Oh, look at Colorado is southwest of Nebraska. So today I hope you learned that we are going to be focusing on Colorado and the neighboring states. We're also going to start looking at the regions of Colorado, but we didn't learn that yet today. We learned that there are 50 states and that even though Hawaii and Alaska are usually in random places in the United States, we now know where Alaska and Hawaii really are in relation to the world. And today, what you're going to do is you get to go practice these skills, and you can come back to this video at any point to really check where things are. But you're going to go do you're going to go show your learning and identify where the different neighboring states are, where Colorado, Denver, and Nevada are. And then also you're going to finish this beautiful compass. So let's go ahead and look at what that's going to look like today. So you're going to go into Seesaw. All right, my friends, and here is the activity in Seesaw. So you're going to drag each of the labels to the correct state. Then you're going to drag our capital and the city we live in to the right location in Colorado. Then you're going to drag the intermediate directions to the correct place on the compass. And finally, you're going to turn in your assignment. So what is that going to look like? Well, the first thing you need to do to get this activity is make sure you're in Miss Fitz's 2020-2021 class. If you're not, you're going to come up to your name and you're going to find it in the drop-down menu. Then you're going to make sure you're in activities and you are going to add a response today. You're going to make sure you find your name, and this will pop up, this beautiful activity. And so today, you are going to go ahead and drag all of these beauties to the state that it belongs in, okay? And I would always start with Colorado. So let me just show you, for example. I found Colorado because it is kind of boring looking because it's just a rectangle, but we now know it's actually a really cool state, okay? And then I would find the different states that neighbor Colorado, going from Wyoming all the way around to Nebraska, okay? And then, of course, you're going to take Denver, the capital, and that's why I put a star, and then Arvada on the map here as well. And so your map is actually way better than the one I was just using because your labels are a little bit smaller and you could probably see where Denver and Arvada are a little bit better. When you're done with that, you're going to come over here and you're going to put your intermediate directions on. Okay, let's make sure I have the right ones. Northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest. Beautiful. I have the right ones on this map. So then you're going to just drag these to wherever they go. Okay. When you're all done, don't forget to turn in your work to get credit for it. I hope you have fun with this activity, and I hope you didn't get too bored from all my talking today. I'm so sorry it wasn't a cool video. Maybe tomorrow. Have fun with this. I can't wait to see your work.